a Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and today we are doing a Brighton Marathon recap. So we're delighted to have Olivia with us. We did a podcast with Olivia back in December when she was starting out on her training and fundraising journey. She did an amazing job on race day. So Olivia, just give us a little bit of a recap of who you ran the race for and just a little bit about your training.
Yeah, so I ran for Scoliosis Support and Research. I had always said that I'd only ever do a marathon for Scoliosis Support and Research, just because it just sits with me, and that's just the only charity I'd want to run for. It was really good. I've been training since August, really. I'd sort of been running before that for a couple of years, but only sort of done half marathons. So this was sort of the first biggest achievement that I'd done sort of running wise. So I was nervous. Very nervous on race day, but it was really good.
How did the training go? Were you comfortable all the way through? Did you get any injuries? Did you follow a plan?
Yeah, so I did follow a plan. So I was already sort of doing half marathons before my entry anyway. So I was comfortable with that sort of distance, but anything over that, that was out of my remit. And I think it was just my body, I think was it took its toll with the distance and running that amount of times in the week. And I did actually tear my hamstring. So I that was about 5 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to do the marathon as I went and saw a physio. So I wasn't able to run. And the first run that I had was last week, was the Monday and the Tuesday. I was only able to do 2 5Ks as they were my practice runs. So I threw myself in the deep end for Sunday. So I put some KT tape on the back of my leg and just powered through because I couldn't not do it. I'm very strong-minded, I think is probably the best word. The first one definitely was quite achy, but the second one didn't feel too bad. I think the couple of weeks off helped. Um, and it was nice to get out where the weather was actually kind of decent because, especially in the training for like London or Brighton, you're just training in minus degrees and it's cold, it's miserable, it's wet. So it was actually nice. By the time that I'd got back into it last week, it was sort of bright and it was in the evening, so it was already getting lighter, which is really nice. So I timed it well.
You did. I mean, this is one of the things with training for a spring marathon, isn't it? It's really tough
Yeah.
because you get the worst of the weather, whereas training for an autumn race, you get to sort of start about now, run through the summer, which is a very different environment, that's for sure. What about the fundraising? You obviously, because you were running on an entry that was owned by the charity and you had a fundraising target.
I started as soon as I got my charity place. I broadcasted it everywhere so that I was sort of straight on it, and friends, family, social media, my workplace. I'd put up posters and things. I think it was December. I did made some cakes, brought them into work. That did really well. I had some nice large donations from at my workplace, which was really nice, and a very generous family. And it's just it's really nice having the charity place because you feel like you're, especially if you're passionate about with the charity, if it's got a good meaning to you, you just feel like you're making a difference as well as also completing the marathon.
So the relationship with scoliosis and with the charity then was really important to you, and you feel like
Yeah.
that had an impact on your fundraising?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, it's about a 50-degree curve. I was put forward for the correctional surgery, and then they found that I had a cyst in my spinal cord. So they immediately said, no exercise, no weights, no extreme sort of gym activity or anything. So I I was just feeling really fed up. I just felt really it affects you. I think when you get diagnosed with anything like that, you have a bit of an identity um, question mark above your head, and you think, "Oh, I don't know who I am," sort of thing. And you're just finding yourself because you feel like, yes, there's something wrong, and I needed to get away from my mind for a bit. And I just thought I just need to go out for a jog. And I'd at the time I was quit vaping, which I was quite bad, so I had already sort of quit that, which was good. So I felt like even my fitness, I was able to actually run. So yeah, when I'm for my first sort of 5K run, really struggled. It's really hard, and it is still sometimes it is hard to run. My back can still play up. Can still be a problem, but I find running definitely helps. It really, really helps with it. And yeah, and then when I started to get my confidence up a bit more, started going a bit longer distance, and just keep maintaining the training. And one of my really close friends, we go out most weekends together, and we'll go over the downs, or we do any sort of distance. It does make a difference having the charity place, knowing that you're doing it for something that you're really passionate about, and just knowing that even if your story can make a bit of a difference even to one person, just to know that um, that if you have got scoliosis and you're being told, "Oh, you know, you shouldn't do weightlifting, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that," it's yeah, just to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah, and it's incredible how many people we've done podcasts with who have scoliosis and have gone on and run marathons. It's
Yeah.
absolutely unbelievable. So well done you. You did an incredible job to sort of respond like you did was amazing. What was it like when you first got confirmation then from the charity that you'd got that spot? Were you sort of really motivated and driven specifically because of the scoliosis, or you just thought, no, it's been a life's ambition to do a marathon?
I think it was definitely a mixture. I think it was I think once I'd completed a half marathon, you sort of think, I wonder if I could ever do that distance. But because I never thought that I was even going to be able to manage to maintain the running, I wasn't sure. I just thought I'm just going to take this as long as I can possibly keep doing it, as long as it was comfortable. And now that I've started up, well, at the time I was obviously getting more and more confident and comfortable with it. Um, that I just thought, "Oh, well, maybe I could do that sort of distance." And yeah, when I got the email, I just thought, why not? I was really pleased.
So let's talk a little bit about the race itself then. What was the communication like from the marathon through the whole process leading up to race day?
I mean, I thought the communication with them was really good. I think I had I had all my race bits through. I think it must have been the week before I was due to start on the Sunday, and I was sent everything through an email with my wave time and which wave I was in, and about sort of entry times, even to the point of like with when you sort of got there, everything was really straightforward. It was yeah, it was quite easy, really. I thought it would be more tricky, even to find things like parking. I was worried about that the night before, but it was it was actually really straightforward.
Yeah, and well, obviously one of the differences between this race and London, obviously, it's organised by the same people, is that you don't
Mm.
have an expo with Brighton, so all the information is sent to you. Where obviously London Marathon, you need to go and collect it at the expo.
Yeah,
So you got that at least a week beforehand.
yeah, and you've got the app that you can download, which that's really handy to have. And that keeps all your information with your bib number, and that's where you get your photos from and things. So that's really good to have. So if anyone's thinking about doing that, it's definitely worthwhile downloading the app.
So what was the start like in Preston Park then? What was the atmosphere like?
It was really good. It was a really lovely atmosphere. It was really busy. I would say is that try and get someone to come in with you, because if you're doing the marathon on your own, you would be sort of stood there that whole time on your own. So luckily, I did have my mum and my husband with me. But otherwise, if they couldn't come in, you would sort of be stood there on your own. It's quite a long time because if you get there super early, but um, even to the point where when you got to your um when they sort of were calling out the different waves, you had quite a lot of time to get there. It was sort of as relaxed as they could make it, so that they obviously knew that people were nervous. So when you kind of get over the through like into the pen bit where they call your wave, even there's like loos and stuff there, which is like really handy. That's really good because the queues were for the toilets were long anyway. Um, And yeah, just the atmosphere, everyone was just really positive, and it was just really, really good fun. There was like lots of music and stuff. It was busy, but it was a good busy.
So talk us through the first half of the course then. There's obviously some nice landmarks like the Royal Pavilion. What was that first half like?
The first half of the sort of, I would say about 22, 23K, I really enjoyed. I mean, I enjoyed the whole lot, but I didn't hit the wall until about then. So it was nice going through the town in Brighton where like the pavilion is. It's so busy with like crowds. It just makes you feel really sort of positive. It makes you have like a really nice feeling about society. It's just reinforces something within you, and everyone's just really positive, which is nice. And even like when you start at Preston Park, you kind of loop back on yourself slightly, and there's people even there already as soon as you start, and people are already cheering you on, and that kind of just continues throughout the course. When you go through Kemp Town, there's still quite a few crowds, but does start to dwindle off a little bit because you're starting to then pick up on to the marina, which there isn't as many crowds, but you had things like choirs and a DJ along where you go to Ovingdean and the windmill. That was nice. The only thing that caught me off guard was the hill at the windmill, and I wasn't sure when that was going to give up, but it was a nice downhill on the way back, which was nice. Uh,
What were the hills like throughout then? Because it's not as flat as London, is it?
No, so it is still really flat. There are just a few little hills that are thrown in. So where you go along to sort of past the marina, and you've then got the roundabout where you go left at Ovingdean, and then you then run back to the roundabout, and then you go up to the windmill. That hill to go up to the windmill is yeah, that is definitely a hill. But it's not the biggest incline, but it's a bit uncomfortable.
So the second half of the course has got a lot of the charity cheer zones on it. What did you think of the charity support?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people. Yeah, there were so many people that were running for charities and just the charities supporting that were actually cheering on everyone. Yeah, there was so many. It was just so lovely to see. And even outside of the charities, just everyone just generally cheering. It really is such a lovely atmosphere.
And you've got a bit of an out and back section where the electric railway
Yes.
is. What was that like?
That was psychologically hard. I think
Yeah.
that was where I hit the wall because you're running sort of back along to the marina basically, but you're not actually running on that same bit of road that you were running on, sort of to Ovingdean and up to the windmill. You're just running underneath. It does feel like it's not giving in, but once you're over that bit, it's not too bad. But there is still there's lots and lots of crowds there, which that makes it for all the better. Yeah, that was really nice. And whether you then go to the pier from that bit, and that sort of that is really well populated with people that are just cheering you on. So go past the Grand Hotel and then start making your way up through into Hove. Grand Avenue was really busy. Both sides were busy. I mean, by that point, I had definitely well and truly hit the wall. Luckily, I had some family on the other side of Port Slade, which that really helped to see them. But other than that, I mean, it was nice that that side there was people that were handing out things like sausage rolls, oranges, loads and loads of sweets. Because I guess it's obviously it's the last bit that you really, really need to push on. Just really nice community base.
What was your race nutrition like then? Had you trained with a certain gel or a certain energy drink, and did you take those with you, or did you take stuff from the aid stations?
So I took my own. I had always been using these SIS. I've been using those, the orange ones. I've just used those. So I think I'm not going to try anything else if I don't know. I don't know whether they would be all right, whether they'd taste okay. So I knew that they were always fine. I took 6 with me, but used 5, and yeah, they were fine. And they did have I think they had some sort of electrolyte drinks that they were giving out, but I didn't take any of those. I don't really like electrolytes, so I just took my gels and just had water.
Well, you did exactly the right thing. You train with a certain product, you got used to that, and then you took it with you.
Yeah,
So many people's races come unstuck because they don't do that, and
yeah,
they get to the race and go, "Oh God, it doesn't matter. I'll just take whatever's here," and then the whole thing unravels very quickly after that.
yeah.
So you did absolutely the right thing. So talk us through that last couple of miles then as you headed towards the finish in Hove.
Yeah, it was really challenging. I got to, I think it was like 41K, and I think the last like 1.5K, it felt like the longest 1.5K that I had ever ran. Um, and I had all of my family at the finish, and had my niece and nephew there as well. And they bundled my nephew over the barriers, and he then finished at the finish line with me, which was really special.
Did you shed a tear?
I did well, yeah, I shed quite a few tears around the course, just because I was really proud of myself when I was there. I couldn't believe how that I was actually doing it, and yeah, it was very surreal, and just because it was hard, it was
Mhm.
it was hard. I did, yeah, it did get to me at some points. Um, I phoned my husband, and I think I said to him, "I can't do it," and he said, You've got to you've got to finish. You've got to get your head out of it, and get focused, and yeah, pull it together, sort of thing." And yeah, and just finishing afterwards, you sort of feel like, oh wow, it's actually done. You think, I haven't got to run. I can stop running now.
Yeah. So what time did you do?
So I did 4 hours and 40 minutes, which I was hoping for a bit quicker, but given my hamstring injury, yeah, I was pleased anyway that I was even able to do it. So yeah, I was still really pleased.
You did incredibly well because you lost a bit of training there at the end. Luckily, it was mainly the taper period, really, but you did lose a couple of weeks. So to be honest, you did fantastically well. Should be really proud of that. The big question, of course, is what's next?
I don't know. I think uh, I probably would do another marathon. I've got a half marathon booked in May, at the beginning of May. I've got Worthing booked. That's with my sister who's doing her first one. So I'll probably do that as to get back into it. And probably would do, yeah, another marathon. I wouldn't say no to London, and I would absolutely do Brighton again. Yeah, I would. I'd love to do Brighton again.
Well, that's good to hear. So you'd recommend the race to other people?
Yeah. I mean, even to the point where my sister, who doesn't, who never thought she'd even consider a marathon or anything, it was her first one that she'd even spectated at. Her and her husband both said, "Oh, we want to sign up," because the atmosphere was just so positive.
It does bring out the good side in people, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, it really does.
Great. I really appreciate you coming on, Olivia. You did a fantastic job, and it's great to chat to you 5 months after that initial podcast when you were just starting out, and we had every confidence that you would do it. But it's great to be able to chat post race and talk about the future. So, congratulations and thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, Will here from Scoliosis Support Research. If you're looking for a great cause to run for, we'd love to have you on board. Drop me a message at fundraising@ssr.org.uk. We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.